Welcome to another episode of the Patriots Prayer Podcast, where we delve into the pressing issues of our times with unflinching honesty and unwavering patriotism. I'm your host, Eddie Smith, and today we have a show that promises to be as riveting as it is revealing. As we navigate through these tumultuous times, the state of our economy is on everyone's mind. With inflation soaring and uncertainty looming, we all wonder how to secure our personal finances in an era of such volatility. Now, to help us dissect these economic landscapes, we have a very special guest with us today, and that is the financial expert Joseph Lombardi. He will provide insights into safeguarding your hard-earned money and making some very informed decisions with your finances, as well as weighing in on the financial crisis in the United States today. But before we delve into the financial turmoil that is America, we need to address a seismic shift in the political landscape that could and should, and if I have anything to say about it, will have far-reaching implications. A report has surfaced suggesting that Donald Trump's trial is teetering on the brink of collapse. Overturned verdicts are in the future, maybe. The integrity of our justice system is once again under scrutiny, as it appears one of the jurors has broken their silence, leaking the trial's decision to a family member who then posted it on the internet. And I don't know who it was, but I want to say thank you. This breach of protocol, this flagrant disregard for the sanctity of our judicial process cannot be ignored. If I were a part of Trump's legal team, I'd be demanding a new trial without hesitation. The precedent is clear. When jurors' misconduct occurs, it undermines the very foundation of a fair trial. Historical cases like Remmer versus the United States or Parker v. Gladden have shown that any external influence on jurors can lead to overturned verdicts and retrials. This situation is no different. The darkness of corruption and the shadows that fall on our courtrooms are threatening to unravel the threads of justice in the United States of America. As we unravel these developments and more, it's crucial to remain vigilant and informed. The battle for truth and justice is far from over. It's up to us to shine a light on the corruption that seeks to undermine our democracy. And with that, I would like to tell each and every one of you, welcome to the Patriots Prayer Podcast. Good evening, Patriots. And tonight we turn our attention to a developing story that could have profound implications for justice and integrity in the United States of America. It appears that the trial of Donald Trump may be on the brink of being overturned due to a serious breach in jurisprudence. Now, recent reports indicate that one of the jurors broke their silence and they disclosed the trial's decision to a family member. This family member then took the unprecedented step of posting the confidential information on the internet. Now, this blatant disregard of the sanctity of judicial process is not only shocking, but it's also deeply concerning. The principle of an impartial jury is the cornerstone of the legal system. When this principle is compromised, the entire foundation of a fair trial is at risk. Historically, the U.S. Supreme Court has set clear precedents on how to handle such situations. Now, the landmark case of Remmer versus the United States in 1954 says that the court held that any private communication, contact, or tampering directly or indirectly with a juror during a trial about the matter pending before the jury is deemed to be presumptively prejudicial. Now, similarly, Parker v. Gladden in 1966, the court ruled that the juror's exposure to statements not made under oath in court and not subject to cross-examination could lead to the reversal of the conviction. Now, the integrity of the verdict was compromised, necessitating a new trial. These cases highlight the seriousness consequences of jurors' misconduct and the imperative for a fair and unbiased deliberation process. In light of these precedents, it's clear that the actions of the juror in Trump's trial could render the verdict invalid. If I were a part of the Trump legal team right now, I would undoubtedly be calling for a new trial. The breach of protocol is too significant to ignore. The implications are too far-reaching to be dismissed. The incident, well, it not only underscores the vulnerabilities within our judicial system, but also serves as a stark reminder of the importance of upholding the principles of justice and fairness. As we watch this story unfold, we must remain vigilant and demand accountability to ensure that our legal process remains untainted by misconduct such as this. Now stay tuned as we follow this developing story and its potential impact on our nation's legal landscape. Until then, stay informed, stay engaged, and never stop seeking the truth. We'll be right back with the Patriots Prayer right after these messages.
Fill up a bowl, go and put your strawberries in that water, your fish, your salmon, your cherries, oh my gosh, your peaches. Did you know that a lot of our food is loaded with pesticides? Did you know that? I mean, my gosh, if I told you here, eat this strawberry, it's loaded with pesticide poisons. But when you put it in this high-powered oxyionized water, within 15-20 minutes, it removes pesticide and poisons, and then you rinse it off. Now here's a huge added benefit. When you bite into that strawberry versus just washing or rinsing it with water, the taste literally explodes because it multiplies the effect of anything the water touches. You are going to love your salmon. You're going to love your strawberries.
We bring you another story that absolutely is going to stir up some kind of emotion, ignite debate, what have you. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi from California has spoken out against the recent invitation that was extended to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Now, he's set to address Congress next month, but Pelosi's stance is clear and resolute. She says this is wrong. During an appearance on CNN Friday, Pelosi was asked whether she would have invited Netanyahu to speak if she were still Speaker, and her response was unequivocal. Absolutely not, she elaborated. Frankly, I don't approve of his being invited. The last time in 2015, but the Speaker just on his own invited him without consulting with the rest of the leadership, she says. And he came and criticized President Obama for his masterful work that he had done with the nuclear agreement regarding Iran to stop them from developing a nuclear weapon. Now, let me weigh in on that just for a second. That didn't go so well, did it? It resulted in Benjamin Netanyahu and the Israelis sending troops over into Iran to assassinate their nuclear scientists, because nor did they abide by the deal, but what the deal did was gave them the cloak under which to cover themselves as they went about enriching uranium well beyond the terms of the agreement. So it was not a successful deal. It did not help the United States. It did not make the world any safer. And what Benjamin Netanyahu did and said, those were the right courses of action in this particular case. So let's listen to exactly what Nancy said in that clip. We'll be right.
I think that I think this is wrong. Frankly, I didn't approve of his being invited the last time, but the Speaker just on his own invited him without consulting with the rest of the leadership. And he came and he criticized President Obama for the masterful work that he had done with the nuclear agreement regarding Iran to stop them from developing a nuclear weapon. And I thought it was completely inappropriate. I feel it's very sad that he has been invited. I think it's going to...
Pelosi's disapproval extends beyond the past. She voiced her own concern for the current invitation, stating, "It feels very sad that he's been invited. But who knows? By then, will he still be prime minister?" she says. What is Benny Gantz going to be saying tomorrow? What's happening? Everything I read is that they're unhappy about this or unhappy about that. Not just Benny, but others within their own cabinet. Now, I personally disagree with this statement, and I disagree with the sentiment of this statement, because they would have no problem allowing Zelensky from Ukraine to come over here and beg more money for a war that could have long since been stopped. There were peace talks that were offered. The Biden administration quashed them, and they continue to push on wanting war with Russia and Ukraine. However, in this case, they seem to be doing the opposite. I wonder why. I wonder how much money Pelosi and the Democrats have tied up in Ukraine. That's the real question to ask. Well, we already know what Biden's ties to Ukraine are. Just ask his son. All right, so her critique touched on a broader implication for Israel and its leadership. I wonder what she actually knows or who she's been talking to. I wish he would be a statesman and do what's right for Israel, she says. We all love Israel. We all fought for Israel on October 7th, and it was terrible what Hamas has done, and they are a terrorist organization. They are dedicated to the destruction of Israel, but that goes beyond that. They want to call for the extermination of every Jew worldwide. So she's wrong in stating that. The people of Gaza are suffering. We need to help them, she says, not have him stand in the way. Well, I don't believe there is a difference between the people of Gaza, the Palestinians, and Hamas. And if there are people who are indifferent, I would have to believe that it's not many. Pelosi warned that the potential domestic repercussions of Netanyahu's address, well, she said, I would think it's going to invite more of what we've seen in terms of discontent among our own people about what's happening there. Let's try to have a two-state solution to make peace in the region rather than coming to the Capitol to draw protesters. Now, I completely, once again, disagree with her sentiment because, one, saying that she doesn't want Netanyahu to come because it's going to draw protesters, are you saying that you're afraid of the pro-Palestinian movement in our country? That doing what's right stirs up the guys on the other side, it stirs up the pro-terrorist movement, so you're afraid and you don't want to make them mad? This is ridiculous. Israel is our biggest ally in the Middle East, and we have problems supporting them after their people, which would have came out to, like, per capita, the 1,200 people that were exterminated that day, that were just needlessly killed and without prejudice. Men, women, children, old people, young people, all just for no reason, just exterminated by these monsters. Would have equaled somewhere around the area of like 30,000 Americans being murdered, right? 30,000. We went to war for almost 20 years for what happened on 9/11, and we didn't lose 30,000 people on that day. But yet, we're okay with sending money to Zelensky. We're okay with bucking Putin because I think that our president is a NATO puppet. But more on that story later. We're going to go to break. When we come back, I'm going to have Joe Lombardi joining us to talk about the state of the United States financial crisis, the looming economy, what's going to be good for our future, bad for our future, good for our bank account, bad for our bank account. How do we protect our assets, our money? What decisions do we make? And on and on and on. And he's going to help us with all of those things. And we'll be right back with more of that.
Can my Eco Washer Special Edition model do everything? We eliminate all the toxic poisons in your home. No more detergent, no more fabric softeners, no more hot water. Sound too good to be true? It's not. Where did this technology come from? This technology literally came from the hospital industry. There's a super expensive commercial Oculus ozone laundry system used in hospitals worldwide. How did we create the Eco Washer SC? We simply miniaturized it using the advent of microtechnology. These are like a solid state computer. No filters, no fillers, no ingredients, nothing. It runs the water through and transforms the water into an unlimited supply of nature's pure detergent and nature's pure cleaning supplies that will mop your floors, wash your carpet, take pesticide off of your fruits, veggies, fish, meats, and it'll make everything last much longer when you put it in the refrigerator. Hey, stop supporting these corporate chemical villains and step up and get your EcoWasher SE today. The new EcoWasher SE is a chemical-free laundry and cleaning solution. Imagine, no more detergent, no more chemicals, saves you money, pays for itself, gives you a healthier life, and simplifies doing laundry. And now we're going to include 2 free Thunder Pure Safe Air Minis that purifies your home and sanitizes your surfaces like a thunderstorm in nature, eliminates all odors. Plus, you're receiving $100 off by using code podcast on the new EcoWasher SE. Let me remind you, you get 2 free Thunder Pure Safe Air Minis plus $100 off during this podcast. Podcast is your coupon code at EcoWasher.
Guys, I apologize. I'm sitting here speaking and I'm muted. So welcome to the show. Are your mics on?
Yes. I think so.
Okay, there we go. A little dead air. So let me fix everybody up where they go. So Elena, Barbara, this is Joe Lombardi, and Elena is just joined she joined the Patriots Prayer podcast team, and she's going to be guest hosting today for Maurice. And Maurice got caught up at work, and he's going to be late getting in, so she stepped in to fill his shoes. So
I don't know if I can do that, but I'll try.
Well, let's give it a shot. So, Joe, you heard the lead in. Your financial expertise. We talked about your history, your past, but can you introduce yourself and tell the viewers a bit about who you are and what you do?
Sure. I'm the owner and founder of Iron Hawk Financial. I've been in business for 21 years. I won 27 industry awards. I've written and published 3 books that are on Amazon Kindle, Being Your Own Bank, There's a Better Way Than a 401k, and Long-Term Care Without Long-Term Pain. I've been featured in International Business Times, Business Insider, Market Insider, The Daily Caller. I've also been on the cover of many magazines, the Who's Who in Building and Construction. I've been on the top 40 advisors in the country under 40 years old. I've also been the Marquis Who's Who in the Congressional Library, top 1,000 influential people of 2023. I have thousands of clients across the country, billions of dollars of protection rollovers I've done in my career. And my number one goal is just trying to help people as much as I can.
Well, if you were to identify a specific danger in the economy or a specific thing that people and families could do right now with what you know is taking place, what you know is coming around the corner, what's step one?
Step one is get out of debt. That is the involuntary slavery that American citizens are in. We already have involuntary slavery with taxation. So get out of this debt, consumerism, only care about my present self, hurt my future self to get ahead now. We live in a society where if you're broke, they'll give you $250,000 in student loans. They'll give you a mortgage. They'll give you a car note. They'll give you credit cards, which you can never pay back. We live in a society where the Federal Reserve prints federal notes, which is just our future labor printed, where that right there tells you we're slaves because they're using our future labor to make an asset, which means we don't own our labor. We don't own our time. So it's trying to get out of slavery, to be honest.
Right. So you're very versed on the monetary system and how it works and how money gets its value and so forth. Were you a fan of Ron Paul at all? You know, he spoke about these things in depth. What do you feel about the monetary system? Do you advocate for the continuation of the current system if it were revised? In what way would you revise it? How and what do you see coming in the future with things as far as the fiat system and the paper dollar?
Yeah, I mean, they are intentionally destroying it. They are seeing the rise of cryptocurrency, and they are seeing how they can control, manipulate, shut off, track currency using crypto, which was created by a CIA operative, if you look into it. So I think what they're going to do is they're going to let crypto keep growing. It's back up to over $70,000 anyway, and they're gonna keep growing it. And they're gonna say, look how wonderful this new payment system is. They're gonna get rid of cash, and they're going to totally control our everyday lives, and it's going to turn into an Orwellian nightmare, in my opinion.
How do you protect yourself from that?
So a lot of people think gold and silver is the way. I'm not one of those believers. I've been approached by many gold and silver distributors to sell gold and silver to my many clients across the country. I just don't believe in it. When I take a look at what the millionaires and billionaires are doing, they're using IRS codes, more importantly, Section 7702 of the IRS. That code is what was being talked about on stage between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump in the 2016 election, when Hillary went to Donald Trump and said, hey, why aren't you paying any taxes? Donald Trump says, I'm using the same codes that you and your donors are using, and you had 30 years to try and correct those codes, but you chose not to. That code they were referring to is Section 7702 of the IRS, which is an IRS code actually embedded in life insurance. So when you hear about professional athletes, more recently, I just pulled Shohei Ohtani as an example. He received a $700 million contract to go from the Angels to the Dodgers. Do you really think he put his money in the bank with a $250,000 FDIC insurance loan? He can't put it in any other asset. I mean, 401ks have max 19.5, Roths are 7,500. So he puts his money in what's called a rich person's Roth, which is 2 Forbes articles written about my strategy, one written by a certified financial planner, one written by a certified public accountant. And what that does is it teaches you how to use cash value life insurance as a way to create your own bank, alleviate taxation. It's sue-proof. It's divorce-proof in most states. It's non-disclosable on the FAFSA form. I have 3 children, so it doesn't disqualify your children from grant scholarships, loan trade student loans, or financial aid. My strategy has been averaging almost 15% tax-free compounding on your money for the last 2 decades, backed by a 178-year-old AAA rated mutual investment insurance company, the 3rd oldest in the world, that survived the Civil War, World War I, the Great Depression, and World War II unscathed. So I don't try to reinvent the wheel. I just offer my clients what the ultra wealthy are doing. And I have clients who do $20 million a year. I have clients who do $500 a month in the strategy. So it's just using what the ultra wealthy people do to get ahead and protect your family.
Now, I've heard of people using whole life and these sorts of things in order to, instead of going and getting SBA loans and things like this, there's less of an APR. And when you're doing the things that you're talking about, and you can use them for initial capital, and it's quite genius from what I understand. But how does someone get into that? How do they make that?
Yeah, I've been an expert in whole life for over 20 years. If you go to my LinkedIn profile, you see I've worked at Northwestern, MetLife, MassMutual, Guardian, Penn. Those are the top whole life sellers in the world. I recently, because interest rates have gotten very high, I've switched to Index Universal Life. And I found a strategy where it's non-direct recognition. I understand I'm speaking Chinese to most of your listeners, but what it allows you to do is it allows you to invest the money, take it out, lean your death benefit, not your investment account. Your investment account is unscathed. So meaning I had a client who was moving from California, going to Arizona. He was looking to roll in 1.1 million. He needed $700,000 cash within a week to put the money in and pull it out to pay off the next house. When he did that, the 1.1 million that he had in there, he pulled out 700, but because they don't recognize the loan, called non-direct recognition, he was still earning interest on 1.1 million, only though that there was 400,000 there.
That's
So it
right. I
allowed
heard of this.
2 streams of income on $1, very similar to what Elon Musk does owning Tesla, where if he needed a quick $100 million for SpaceX, he would take a lien against his Tesla position, pay 0 ordinary income taxes on $100 million, and then use that dollars to invest in SpaceX, still earn profit on the stocks that he had at Tesla, but also earn profit on the growth that he had on SpaceX.
On the
So now
same
he's able
dollar.
to stream
Getting paid
$1.
twice. Getting paid
Correct.
twice on the same dollar. That, I mean,
That is
for one, I love it. How often do we get taxed twice on the same dollar versus getting paid twice on the same dollar?
When you take a look at taxation, I've actually did a presentation that Mass Mutual wanted to buy from me for millions of dollars back in 2014, which teaches you how to save $1 million. There's a bucket called Tax Me 3 Times. That's where you have your checking account, CDs, brokerage, money market accounts. These are vehicles you get no write-offs. You're taxed on the growth, and then you're taxed when you spend.
Exactly.
So we used to pick up guns and kill the British that were trying to tax us twice on one commodity of tea. And now as
2%.
Americans, we're taxed up to 7 times on our assets when you take a look at your cell phone or your automobile.
Yeah. Yeah, I reference it all the time. We damn near started a revolution over a 2% tax. Now we're taxed, for breathing, right? The ACA taxed every man, woman, and child in the entire country and made us all join a club that we want to know part of. And I mean, that's just not to mention the Social Security Act, which most people think is a savings club, when in fact it's a tax. It's a tax that you only get paid back less than 10% in your lifetime for, while 90% of your money goes to other people that you don't even know. But meanwhile, whenever they talk about getting rid of Social Security, one segment of our population goes into a frenzy, like we're saying some evil word. No, get rid of it. I want to opt out. I don't know about most people my age, but I want to opt out. Elena, would you want to continue to pay out of your paycheck into a Social Security system, which you're never going to be able to draw back from? Wouldn't you rather take that money, throw it into an account of some kind, like you're saying, where you actually have access to it, and when you die, you can leave it to your family, versus the system just moving your money around, giving it to whom they please, sending it to Ukraine, sending it wherever the hell they want to?
Yeah, absolutely. Truth be told, some of what you're saying, Joe, is way above my pay grade in this realm of in finance. But I have seen enough data on Social Security that just comparisons of, if you did this with your money that you get paid into Social Security, here's how much you have compared to here's how much you'll get. And it is astronomically different that if we had control over our own money, how much better our retirements could be. So the answer is yes. If I could opt out, I would. I have never heard of any legislators talking about an opt-out option. Has anyone ever floated that?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was not one of my favorite guys, but it was Bush. And Bush was trying to push for privatization of the Social Security system. And then that's when the Democrats started yelling and complaining that he was trying to end Social Security, when in fact, what he was trying to do was make your contribution belong to you, specifically to you, versus whenever we pay our taxes, it goes into a giant dish and they all just reach their hand in and take what they want. It's not in different accounts the way they would have you believe. Like they talk about the Social Security fund almost being broke. Well, they don't know, because it's in one giant fund. Well, of course,
it's $26 trillion in debt. Go to
we're
US
$34 trillion in debt. I mean, we've
$40 trillion in Medicare, which is more than our entire national debt, and $215 trillion in U.S. unfunded liabilities. All this can be easily found on usdebtclock.org, by the way. Every working American, which is only 40% of the population, owes $2 million to the Federal Reserve to make us square.
That's nuts. They say that if they took every dollar and cent from every billionaire in the entire United States, that it would only be enough to run the country for a little over a week. People need to let that sink in. And they also believe that the top 1% of the people that earn a living in this country, they don't pay taxes. When in fact, that's completely wrong. And I know that, I mean, I've been hit hard. I've been the guy who went, 75,000 to 80,000. And I said, hold up, I'm making more money, but I'm making less money. And in the money that I do make, I have to tuck away in an IRA or a 401k to lower my taxable income so that, go ahead, explain. You're shaking your head no.
Yeah, so that concept was a fallacy that was sold to American citizens. It was sold that you're gonna write off, let's say, $15,000 a year. This isn't my presentation, by the way.
Right.
And let's say you do that for 30 years, right? So you put away $15,000 a year for 30 years. You're a high income earner, right? So you're saving $450,000. Let's assume you're high income, right? So you're saving 33%, right?
Don't tell nobody.
Percent state. That's 150 grand. Now, for every $100,000 you need, only taking federal taxes into consideration, not state, FICA, Medicare, unemployment, Social Security, none of that, just federal.
Mm-hmm.
You have to gross $138,000 than 100 today.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to retire at 60, live till 90, 38,000 times 30 years is $1.12 million to save 150 grand. And the lie that was sold to the American people is that when, you're working, you're making money, just defer it. Get a write-off. Now, save money. You're not saving anything. You ever watch a football game? When you defer the kickoff, that means you have to kick off second half, right? You didn't save a kickoff.
Yeah, you're just kicking the can down the road a bit.
So what the dream that was sold to the American people is very simple. You're going to be making more money in your 40s, 50s, and 60s, even 70s, right? Because we don't save a lot as Americans. We spend 102% of our GDP. And then when you hit retirement, you're going to be in a way lower tax bracket. You know what that means? That means you're going to make the most money ever, then you're going to live in poverty. Mm-hmm. That is the American dream. Because in order to be in a lower tax bracket, not even taking consideration with taxes going up and inflation going up, but
right.
If they stayed the same, you would have to live in poverty to be in a lower tax bracket. That mindset cost Americans 10 to 15 times the amount of money they write off today. It's going to cost them 30 years from now if taxes don't go up.
Well, I know a lot of people, that are in their 70s and they retired and they thought about going back to work, and they were professional people and they made quite a good living. And a lot of them that decide not to do that don't do that because of the hit that they'll take from the Social Security Administration.
Everything.
They don't. Yeah. They can't work. They can't clear over a certain amount of money per year, or else they lose their benefits. Correct. And this is what I'm talking about. But that's your money. Everyone remember at the end of the year, you would get a little statement in the mail from the Social Security Administration and have your name on it. It would tell you how much you paid in. All that's gone. I haven't seen one of those in over a decade.
Forgot about that.
Over a decade. Yeah. Along with those little commercials they used to say, it's 11 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? But we don't care anymore today, obviously. So we don't do those commercials anymore.
Your children for profit right now. We're the number one child traffic country in the world. Go USA.
Yeah. Well, Elena can actually speak to that. Well, she has a movie out called American Groomer, and it's quite an eye opener in when you're talking about that subject. It's extremely eye opening. So where can people get a hold of you, Joe? And what can you help them with? And tell us a little bit about that. So
like I said, I've been in business 21 years. I'm 5-star rated on Google, A+ rated on the Better Business Bureau. Never charged a client $1 in 20 years. Never lost a client $1 in 20 years. I worked exclusively with the Patriot market now. If you go to Rumble, which this platform is on, you can see I've done hundreds of podcasts. I actually have my own radio show, Money Talk with Iron Hawk, which goes live every Tuesday, 7 o'clock Eastern on every Apple product, including Spotify. So how can people reach me? Well, I'm offering every single one of your listeners all 3 of my books for free, no cost, absolutely free. You don't have to work with me. I'm trying to get this information out there to wake the U.S. citizens up to the fact that they are owned by the federal government. These books are very simple to read. They're 20, 30-page books. Client A, client B has my strategy, doesn't have my strategy. What happens? Super simple. Nothing complex. Just write an email to Joe, Joe, at ironhawkfinancial.com and just say free books. You will not be added into any type of promotional email thing. I'll send you a Calendly link if after you read my books, you want to meet with me, great. I'll also include all the articles that I was featured in on my strategy. It's featured in International Business Times, Business Insider, Market Insider, and 2 Forbes articles on my strategy called The Rich Person's Roth. If you read this information and understand that what you are doing as Americans, IRAs, 401ks, SEP, Simples, pension, deferred comp, 457s, 403bs, you are hurting yourself unimaginably long-term. Do you know how much fees are inside of those accounts? Let's take a 401k, for example. 12B1 fee, Class A share fund fee, money manager fee, annual account fee, mutual fund expense fee. So Wall Street's taking half of your money with compounding fees over time. Then you have taxes, federal, state, FICA, Medicare, unemployment, Social Security, all coming out of your account when you need it. So if you have Wall Street taking half your money and the government taking half your money, if taxes don't go up, which by the way they are, you're left with less than a quarter of your account. So it's vitally important to own your own bank. Do what the millionaires and billionaires do, even at a small level, $200 a month. Own your own bank. Stop feeding the system, which they are stealing your money. They're taking that money to build bombs, and they are using those bombs to kill innocent women and children across the country. They're using that money to traffic human lives, whether it's children or adults, to get into either sex trafficking or slavery. Stop feeding the system. Be independent. You're a patriot. You're a prepper. You have guns, food, ammo, alarms, just like I do.
Who's been in my house? Who told him?
Be your own bank. Stop. When the banks collapse, it's not when, it's if.
Right. Yeah, the fiat system is going to fail. It has to.
1,000%.
Yeah.
But there's going to be a transfer, right? So that whole lie, which, by the way, I've been approached by many gold and silver companies to sell gold and silver to my Patriot audience because you guys love that.
I don't think gold and silver are going to count for much when people don't have bread to eat.
No. Gold and silver are like Pokemon cards, sports cards,
correct,
comic books. They're a tangible asset. You still have to transfer that into whatever the new currency is.
And they did this once before. Didn't they do this once before in history? Yeah. They went around, took everyone's gold, took it all, gave them all a bunch of IOUs,
they stole it all.
and then never paid it back. There are people today that our government took their gold back in the beginning of the century and never paid them back. They still haven't gotten paid back.
How many family members have been digging a pool and found a bunch of gold from their great-grandfather been sitting in the ground for 75 years?
Not me, but I'd like to.
Yeah, no value, right? That person didn't do anything. What you need to do, believe it or not, I know it's the lesser of two evils. Insurance companies have survived the Civil War, Great Depression, World War I, World War II, 177 years of documented success. Yeah. When banks failed during the Great Depression, your money was fine. You actually made money, by the way. When Civil War happened, safe place for your money. When World War I and World War II happened, nobody lost a penny. Documented. Can you say that about the stock market?
Yeah, a bunch of different kind of people in those days, though. The greatest generation during World War II, people were all, behind the war effort, actually cared about their country. Today, we'll rip up, shred, burn an American flag, and it's trendy. So, and that's what we're really fighting. We're fighting the enemy within, and what you're doing is giving us the ability to stand on our own too, and buck the system because we don't need them. And we appreciate you coming on and taking the time to spend with us and letting our listeners know exactly what their options are. Joe, thank you, sir. And we look forward to speaking with you again in the future.
Thanks for having me, Eddie. And if you want to book a meeting directly with me, go to www.ironhawkfinancial.com. Contact us. It's absolutely free. I'll show you how to save a bunch of money. And I really appreciate you allowing me to use your platform, Eddie, and I look forward to seeing you in the future.
You as well, sir. We'll be right back after this.
Fill up a bowl. Go and put your strawberries in that water, your fish, your salmon, your cherries. Oh my gosh, your peaches. Did you know that a lot of our food is loaded with pesticides? Did you know that? I mean, my gosh, if I told you here, eat this strawberry, it's loaded with pesticide poisons. But when you put it in this high-powered oxyionized water, within 15-20 minutes, it removes pesticide and poisons, and then you rinse it off. Now here's a huge added benefit. When you bite into that strawberry versus just washing or rinsing it with water, the taste literally explodes because it multiplies the effect of anything the water touches. You are gonna love your salmon. You're gonna love your strawberries.
So Julius is supposed to be joining us, but it looks like he's having trouble. So why don't we use this time? We was going to do it more formal than this, but Maurice, you know, is not here today, and you stepped in, and I appreciate you doing it last minute. But I guess most people don't know. But guys, Elena is now a part of the Patriots prayer, and she's going to be doing our Fridays. Was that right? Well, we decided Fridays, right?
Fridays, yeah.
So Fridays, she'll be doing our Fridays at 6 p.m. And the show is going to be called The Based Mother, because that's the name that Andrew Tate gave you, correct? That was what he ended up calling you, was The Based Mother. So we're just doing all the footwork right now, ironing out logos and that sort of thing, and trying to build the brand. And we'll let you know as soon as we actually have the date set up. Whether it be next Friday or the Friday after. It's going to be hard with with us going out to Detroit and these types of things. There's going to be a lot of traveling. But this Sunday, we're going over to the Trump rally right here in Vegas. So if anybody's in Vegas, just know that I'll be at the Trump rally on Sunday at Sunset Park. So, yeah, it's going to be fantastic.
I'm a little jealous. I'm jealous.
It's going to be hot. I'm looking forward to the one in Detroit more than this one, even though it's closer. I'm looking forward to the one in Detroit, because this one they didn't give me my press pass. They said I applied too late for them to do their due diligence, and I'm like, hold up, guys, we just did this in Detroit, so why wouldn't the same due diligence be good for Vegas? Whatever. I'm going to go over. I'm going to listen. I'm going to talk to some folks. We're going to have a great time. So it doesn't matter. We're just going to make the best out of a bad situation. We're going to be down in Detroit, and we're going to be meeting up with Michaela Montgomery. And Michaela is the young girl that everyone saw that was in the hallway with Trump at the college, loving on him and telling him that he has support from the Black community and don't listen to what the press is saying. And I don't know if you heard the story, but it's crazy. I'm sitting on the couch. My wife and I are watching TV. She's got her phone out as usual, like we all do. And says, hey, have you seen that video of Michaela with Trump? And I'm like, what are you talking about? What video of Michaela with Trump? And so she shows me the video. And I'm like, I didn't know that was Michaela. This little girl used to come over to the house every single weekend. She'd be with my daughter. One of the nicest little girls ever. And like I said, I remember, and I'll never forget because it made such an impression on me. We're at my daughter's graduation from middle school, and this little girl walks up and hands my wife flowers. So she thought ahead to buy my wife flowers for her graduation, right? So it just tells you how thoughtful of a little girl
kind of a kid is. I didn't realize that you knew her.
Yeah, well, I didn't realize it was her. So here's the video.
Look at the joy. Here to tell us about it is that young woman herself, Michaela Montgomery. She's also the founder of a grassroots political group to conserve the culture. Michaela, I've been waiting for this interview all morning. I've been waiting for this my whole life. Thanks.
She's awesome. Anyway, we're gonna be hanging out with Michaela down there. I wish we would have known a little earlier. Would have made moves a little sooner. I would have loved to have Alexandra there, you there, me there, all of the Patriots prayer crew all in one place at one time, get a group photo. It would have been awesome to do it.
Well, but we're gonna have to get something on the calendar then. We got to
get something on the calendar. How do you feel about coming to Vegas? It's a boring place.
Oh yeah, I always just sleep the whole time I'm there. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Have you been out here?
I've been there 6 or 7 times. I've been to Vegas. Yeah. So
that's it.
That's it. Yeah.
What'd you do while you were here?
Oh gosh, I've done so many things. Well, when I lived
Can you
in California,
say what you did while you were here?
Some of it.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, what was it? 5-6 years ago, I went to when Guns N' Roses got back together, and they had their.
Oh yeah, they
first
played at the
concert.
Hard Rock. They played at the Hard Rock. I was
No, they
there.
played at the MGM. Wasn't it at the
Oh, it
new
was at the
arena?
Hard Rock.
Not
In
at-
fact, for a brief time, they renamed Paradise Road Paradise City Road.
When they
made me
played
take it back.
the two arena shows, it was the first
Yep.
time that they were together in 23 years, and I went to both shows 2 nights in a row. That was my last trip, most recent trip there. But other times, I just did stuff like that: concerts, get a little bit of gambling, shows,
I'm back.
having a good time.
There he is. So I don't know if you were having some technical difficulties there, Julius, but welcome to the show, sir. So I was able to dig up some of the other footage we did. Listen, I saw the new footage. Maurice talked to me. We're getting the thing. I got emails. I got messages afterwards. They're calling you the new Billy Mays. The product is amazing. Listen, I don't know if you saw the commercial while we were interviewing Joe, but Julius has created this device that makes you throw away all your Windex, all your bleach, all your cleaners, all your Lysol, all that stuff, your carpet cleaners, everything. Put it in the trash. Hook this little device up underneath your sink, behind your wash machine. You don't need detergent anymore. You don't need detergent. You don't need any of that. Julius, tell us what you got for us today, bud. I don't know if he's frozen. I think he's frozen.
I think he's frozen, but I want to know
think
more
he's
about
frozen.
this.
So while we're waiting for him to unfreeze, I think, Julius, you have a slow internet connection where you are, and you may need to reconnect. I'm not sure, but it's usually what has to happen when you're going that slow. But I'll tell you, this device, what it does is it goes between your water line and your wash machine. So water in, water out. And it's essentially, it was made by the hospital industry. And the hospital industry, they used it because it killed germs. It did everything, and it less abrasive on the machines, less abrasive on the skin. You're not putting the poisons that are put into the laundry detergent and everything on the largest organ of your body, which is your epidermis or your skin. So, once you put those, and I'm learning all this from Julius, but once you put those things on, they don't ever wash out, ever. Like your clothes are destroyed. Your machine eventually, fades quicker than it would be. This thing saves you tons of money because you no longer have to buy the detergents every year. You don't have to worry about having the Gain and the other detergents there to do the laundry. This thing actually restores the clothes, makes them last longer, keeps the colors better. You can use it under the sink to wash fruits and vegetables and all kinds of things. So, like I said, you don't need anything else but this device, and you're good. Julius, is your video acting better now? Are we able to hear you? And are you moving in real time?
I hope he comes, because I need like a 5th grade science science lesson on how this thing works. Because I love cleaning supplies, and I actually like doing laundry, believe it or not. And I need to know how this stuff removes dirt and oils, skin oils. So yeah, I'm gonna end up staying up all night watching his videos on how his product works.
It's pretty neat. So here, let me bring up some slides real quick. So these are some of the things that it kills, right? And this is without detergent, without bleach, without all the chemicals and that we would usually use. So I don't even know what this one is. Candida albicans. I've never heard of it. Yeast, but it causes yeast infections. You have Aspergillus. I can't say any of these, but evidently they're all bad, and this thing kills all of them. And what I saw when I saw the product demonstrated early on, before I even reached out, was I saw this this demonstration they did where they took a towel that had been washed 1,000 times and it was matted down real thin and didn't really look. It looked like a couple of years old, like we would normally have in the house towel. They washed it in the wash machine with this device once, and then when they dried it, it looked like you just picked it up from Walmart. So it restores the clothes, and it uses the same technology. Like it ionizes, and I'm leaving a lot out. Julius, don't hate me for this. But I'm leaving a lot out. But it uses like kind of when you run it, it smells like it's like a thunderstorm outside. So you smell the ozone and that sort of thing in the house. You could actually use it to rinse out the pesticides in the fruits, in your strawberries, salmon, your vegetables, these sorts of things. So it's why it's multiple uses. You can mop your floors, clean your rugs, wash your clothes. So that's why I said throw all of the chemicals that you're using currently in the trash and use code podcast. Use code podcast. And I think right now you're getting it for a little over here, and I have it right here. You're getting it a 100 off. You're going to get 2 free air purifiers. Just use code podcast. Go to ecowasher.com. And I'm telling you guys, it's not, one of the hardest people I've ever heard to convince, especially when it comes to purchasing or buying a product, or at least being somewhat skeptical on the product, is Maurice. Maurice called me right after we were done the episode with him, and he said, give me his number. I want to buy that thing. I want to buy that thing. My wife wants it. We're going to get one as well.
I want to check out. I mean, is it easy to install? Like, how do we use this thing? I mean,
let's try it. Third time is a charm.
All right.
Third time is a charm. There we go. Are you able to hear us, Julius?
Come on.
No, the internet over where he's at is just, it's obviously too slow for what we got going on. So I'll send you the videos and I'll send you the YouTube channel and you can see it. But I mean, by the time it comes out, it's less than $300 to get it with our code. And so it's well worth it. You're spending more than that, much more than that on your laundry detergents every year. And it actually helps you be a little lazier and spend a little more time at home and do less, because you don't have to run to the store and buy all those things.
Right. One less thing. But you know what? We really don't spend enough time considering what we're putting into our bodies and what we're putting onto our skin. I mean, I use detergent, fabric softener, sheets. It's just all chemicals. And like you said, everything we put on our skin gets absorbed right into our bodies. And we can't figure out why, as a nation, why we've got, it's just such high rates of
allergies,
diabetes and allergies and all these things.
Can you imagine if the people today were to go back in the early days of the country, where like they come out here to conquer the West in wagon trails, and if they were bitching about their allergies and all that kind of stuff? Can you imagine? We would not last, in the pioneer days. We wouldn't have any. Yeah, no. I don't think it would work.
This is a peanut-free zone. Imagine like going on a wagon train with that. Yeah.
I can't have that. I have a lactose intolerance. It's not going to work. It's not going to work very well at all. So I'm hoping on Sunday I'm going to be doing some man on the street things. I'm going to be going live if given the opportunity, depending on, it's going to be hot. First of all, let's just get that right out there. They got a heat warning, a heat wave that's going on out here. It was 115 degrees in my car today. Oh my God. You talking about hot. It was extremely hot. So,
how many people do you think, what's your prediction? How many people are going to show up on Sunday?
Oh, they're expecting a full house and then some. And then some. And I'm really interested in seeing the opposition, to be honest with you. I'm extremely interested in seeing the protests and the people out and around where he's going to be. Now, we did this once before when Donald Trump Jr. came, and they were expecting the Antifas and all these guys to show up. And it was lackluster at best. But maybe he'll draw a better crowd than his son did. I'm really, really looking forward to it. And there are going to be some other people that are there. Carrie Buck, who's running for our state senate here. They're all going to be there. But I went to McKee Ranch, a Turning Point event, a week ago, and I went in to meet all of our guys who are running for office currently. And I'm going to say the truth, man. I was not impressed. I was asking questions, about the DSA and this and that. And they looked at me like, what's the DSA? And I'm just like, God.
I haven't had a ton of experience with people, elected officials, or candidates, I should say. But, back in Boston a few years ago, I invited this candidate over and I prepped her. I said, I'm going to have 30 people in the room. These are the issues that they care about. here's the bill that your opponent put, or is trying to put forth on this, and this. Like, I mean, I did all the homework, handed it to her days before. She came in and talked about everything but. And everyone in the room sat there and thought, what are we here for if she's not talking about what matters to us? And this happens all the time with political candidates on the right. I don't know about what goes on the left.
Whoa. Are we working now, Julius? Are you live?
I don't know. I don't know.
You are. Yes, I can hear you.
We got you.
I'm here.
He speaks.
I'm excited.
He speaks. So she has some questions about how the device works.
Sure.
And I gave a very high level explanation, but tell her exactly how it works.
In case we get cut off again, if anyone wants to go to ecowasher.com, we have multiple videos, one of which we had one of those, what type of videos where they actually take and animate and they actually show you how the water goes through everything. Basically, this is our 5th generation model. It works automatically with any washing machine. You just hook it up, takes about 10 minutes, simple. All you got to do is know how to put one bracket on the wall, unit goes on, cold water attaches to it, and boom, you're done. All you do is walk up to your washing machine, throw it in, turns it on, the water runs through the technology, and it transforms the water with technology inside the machine into what's called a hydroxyl radical. It uses ozone and ionization. It's the same exact thing hospitals have been using for the last 3 got the concept ago.
I think we're losing you again.
We sold near 100,000 of these. Our sales have really went. Yeah.
Julius, I think we're losing you again, bud.
And you can see everything.
Ecowasher.com. All right.
Ecowasher.com. Use code podcast. Now he's got these other products, air purifiers. There are other products that he has as well in there. So guys, take a look at all of them. Look at the entire product line. Any questions at all, reach out to Julius. He will reach back. Ecowasher.com. Use code podcast. This is something that I know Maurice is looking forward to it. I know we're looking forward to hooking ours up. And it's really, really neat. And I found Julius because there was a competitor of his, believe it or not. And the competitor of his for a product that was subpar to what he's offering was selling the same product for $899 for the same exact thing. And I won't tell the whole story how Julius was involved with that, but I reached out to Julius because it was a product that I really wanted. I already knew about what it did and kind of how it worked, and I was given the crib notes on it. And needless to say, he jumped right on board. And we really look forward to working with him. And hopefully in the future we can get a better internet connection with him and we can hear from him. So he's a great sponsor. All of our sponsors are good people, and we have more contacting us. So we're going to be more building like the parallel economy kind of people that we're only going to work with people who basically espouse the same values that we do, believe in the same things that we do. We don't want to support the machine that we're trying to tear down, right?
I talk a lot about that on my Instagram channel. Every time I find out something about a brand that is destructive to this country, I want everybody to know about it. And I encourage people to just stop, just abandon them. Just leave them alone. They hate you. Don't give them your money. It is that simple. You have to give your money. We have to support people like Julius. You're telling me he's got the same values as us. He's trying to do something good for this country. His company isn't hurting. I mean, the bar is so low. Like at this point, it's like as long as you're not hurting, the foundation of our country.
Who's he competing against? Right? He's competing against Procter and Gamble. I mean, we know most of their products. How many times have you seen? If you've used this product, call 800. This the talcum powder. On and on and on. They do not care. They know when they put products out that there are fundamental side effects that affect a certain segment of the population. They just build it into the insurance policy of the product when they put it out, knowing that a certain segment of our population are going to get cancer or other ailments that are caused by what they're selling us. And they just don't give a damn. They don't.
And that's not all of it. You know, they have all of their social programs, their DEI, where they discriminate against people, and they put in people in jobs where safety is concerned who are less qualified because of the color of their skin. Like, I'm not playing. I'm out.
Yeah. It's the same thing. I've seen people try to misconstrue the words spoken by Charlie Kirk about how he would feel, because they lowered the bar for what a pilot needs to do in order to fly commercial aircraft. They lowered the bar for what the guys in the flight controller tower, the test scores and that they have to score in order to qualify for the job. Now, that is inherently and intrinsically racist, because you're telling me in order to get people of color, other nationalities, other sexes in these particular positions, you're telling me that you have to lower the bar because you're telling me they're not smart enough. That is the most racist damn thing. That's the part of it, I think, that goes right over their heads. Like, it's like going in, sitting down and applying for the job. What if the boss said, hey, it's between you and this guy, and you are that guy? Imagine that, that we're the minority in the world, in this country, and you're sitting down and someone says, oh, we don't have our quota of white people. You're less qualified, but we need you because you're white. Would you want that job? Would you actually want? I mean, I'd feel like absolute shit. I don't think I could take the job.
That's how I feel as a woman. I don't want it. Don't give it to me because you need another lady on the team. Give it to me because I've got the right stuff. That's exactly, because I am, or for a while I was the minority, but now I'm too white to be cared about, so it's okay. I don't have to worry about that anymore.
Well, I got here before we get out of here. I wanted to bring this up again. Take a look at this. Have you seen these? This is the order from the judge that there may be, guys, this is all great news, there may be another Trump trial. Or we don't really know yet, but I'm assuming that they have to, because the precedent has already been set, they have to at least order a new trial, because the juror in the case leaked the decision before it was official, and the decision ended up on the internet as a result. The cousin of one of the jurors posted online, my cousins are in the jury and Trump's going to be found guilty, before the verdict was read, meaning they were communicating and talking about the trial behind the scenes, which invalidates the verdict.
Wow. See, I've had a very busy day, so I've missed all of this. That's really interesting. I kind of wonder what the truth is, but you know that the Democrats in New York are also encouraging the governor, the very liberal progressive Governor Hochul, to pardon him, because the whole thing is backfiring, and they're seeing how much support is Trump getting. Yeah, so they're trying to encourage her to to free him from this.
Well, what they want to do is not make it look like it was a Democrat or a leftist coup.
Exactly.
They're trying to, see, that may be why this happened to begin with. All right, let me create a story for you, right? This is not true. This is for educational purposes only. Whoever's going to take it literally. Imagine
I'm ready. I'm on this road with you. Let's go.
Imagine this, right? So we know this going in, that it's going to look bad for the left. This phone call hypothetically takes place, or someone passing a letter or telling somebody on a jury, hey, do us a favor, call someone and have them say this. And that way we have an out later if we want to reverse the trial, because we don't like the way it's making us look.
All right. I hate to sound like a psycho, but that sounds more realistic to me, knowing what we know, than a juror telling the loudmouth cousin who you don't trust with information that about the verdict, and say, you know what I mean? Because you all know, you're sitting there, you know the rules, you're not supposed to do this. If you're going to tell anybody, it's not going to be the one cousin who can't keep a secret for 5 minutes. So your theory is actually more realistic.
I know. I just know how down, dirty, scheming politics are in general, right? I've been in campaigns. I've worked with people running for Senate, and I've seen the lies. We talk to these politicians. We hear firsthand what's really going on, and then we see the news and what they say happens, and it's nowhere in this same hemisphere. So we know what they do. We know how devious they are. And politics is a game of, I mean, it's really cutthroat. It's extremely cutthroat. So I would not put it past them to build themselves an out into the situation. One where they convict him and they don't at the same time for optics.
Right. So they'll have another trial. This time they'll make sure the jurors let him off because, the first time they did it, it was giving him way too much
and we
power.
We can no longer bitch and point fingers at him saying it was a leftist coup.
Yeah.
Because they built that into it.
But it's too late. It's too late.
Exactly.
We already know. We're not stupid. We've been gaslit for so long that, we're wide awake to it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I love the way that MTG has approached all of these things, right? Her interview in the hallway leaving the courtroom after the Fauci trial was absolutely just on fire. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. You didn't see it? I'll send you the video afterwards. And I mean, it was pretty bad. And then did you see this one where she's in the let me see, I'm pretty sure I have the clip. She's in the in chambers and the baby girl statement happens with AOC. Check it out.
I believe there's another motion coming. So you agree to strike your words?
Yeah.
Okay. Ms. Green agrees to strike her words.
I believe she
Chair
needs to apologize.
recognizes
No. She
Perry.
needs to apologize.
Okay, hold on. Then after Mr. Perry's going to be recognized, then Ms. Green
I'm not
has 4 minutes and
apologizing.
21
Well,
seconds.
then you're
reserve
not
the right to
striking your
object.
words.
I am
Mr.
not
Perry.
apologizing.
Now let's go. Come on, guys.
Why don't you debate me?
Mr. Chairman, the
it's
minority.
pretty self-evident.
You're not.
Yeah, you're not.
out of order.
You don't have enough
You're out of order.
intelligence.
Chair recognizes Mr. Perry.
Okay, move to strike
I'd like to
I
strike
move to
those
strike the
words
lady's
as well.
I move to
I would
strike,
like to
move to
strike
strike
those
the lady's
as well.
words again.
That's 2 requests to strike. That's 2 requests to strike.
Oh, they cannot take the
There's
words.
another motion to strike her words.
She is a fighter. I want her on the show so bad.
I couldn't agree
We
more.
have-
But
we have
that
mutual
whole exchange
acquaintances.
was so embarrassing. All of
Yeah.
it. I mean,
Yeah, when
which
she
is-
said, "Oh, baby girl," I just thought myself, if you really approached MTG in the hallway with that kind of talk, with that same energy, she would beat her like a wet noodle up and down the Capitol. It would be
every possible way, intellectually, physically, emotionally. Like she just destroys AOC. We know that. But AOC standing there, she's got her posse with her. She's, protected, kind of like a keyboard warrior because she's in the chamber. But yeah, right. Take it out back. We know who's winning that one.
I even heard she was a subpar bartender as well. So this is what I hear. But all right, you have any last words before we get out of here tonight?
No, I'm psyched that you called. Thanks for bringing me on last minute, man. What a fun surprise.
Did you like we talked a little bit about the logos and that sort of thing. Did you like what we put together?
Yeah, I really do. I like it. Yeah, we'll talk more. We'll
get your intro going. We'll get the rest of it built out. We'll try to have it built out by Friday.
And I'm working on the format and the content and what I want, and I want to run it by you and make sure that it aligns well with everything in a way that your audience is going to be a fit for
These guys are going to love you. These guys are going to love you. So I'm not worried about that, based mom, at all. Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit.
Psyched.
But as usual, the silent majority, you need to stop being silent and stand your ground. We'll see you next time on the Patriots Prayer. You guys have a great night.
Okay, I ain't even gon' flex this Sunday. I ain't even up next, but one day you gon' put this tape in, hit the replay, gon' vibe and you ride, chill to the music, feeling what I'm putting inside, dealing with your vulnerable.